Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous Pisces. This is going to be your reading for September 2025. But remember, you know, time is fluid. Whenever this reading finds you or you find it, it's probably your divine timing. Um, so I'm not going to talk a lot in the beginning of the reading because we're using, well, it's not really a new format, but it's not a format I use all the time. Um, but I thought something was just pulling me to use it for the month of September. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also doing opposite signs again. And what I mean by that, for anyone who is new, and welcome, by the way, we had a lot of new people join our beautiful family, and I just want to welcome you. And of course, I want to thank everyone who's been with me. I just want to thank you all. Um, so why was I telling you that? I don't know. Um, anyway, so you're the second sign that I'm doing for September, and I have to tell you, as soon as I pushed start, it was 222, 222. I have a feeling that's a good sign. Everything I feel is a sign, and that was a good sign. So, and why? Well, two is definitely about partnerships, but in all different ways. It's not always love, but it could be like a best friend. So we'll see. And there's many other things that go with it. The triple twos. Also, it's a beautiful angel message if you want to take the time and look it up. And all you have to do is type in angel meaning 222, because it is for you. I know it. I feel it. So, anyways, I said I wasn't going to do a lot of talking. This is going to be for Pisces sun, moon, or rising. Many of you are intuitively guided to readings now, and I and your spirit guides thank you for paying attention to your intuition. If there's anything that I hope that is learned from this channel, it's about trusting your intuition. Your intuition is your GPS for this lifetime. So trust it if you can. Um, some of you could certainly be in love with a Pisces. Same thing, your guides, who I read through, by the way, are spirit guides. They know you're here. So be open to receiving messages for yourself also. All right, so this is what I'm going to do, Pisces. Um, I'm going to start with Mother Mary. Of course, give her the honor of opening up our reading. I am going to use the major arcanas to give us just the bullet points of what the reading is going to be about. And then I'm going to ask, this is where it's different from the normal monthlies. Normally, I just allow it just to unfold naturally. This month, I just feel like I'm going to ask the questions right to our guides. And I have to say, I did Virgos right before you, and it just blew me away because the answers, well, I would expect nothing less from our guides, but boy, do they answer. So these are the questions I'm going to ask. Number one, what's blocking me? And when I say me, I mean you. I'm just literally a Pisces right now. By the way, I am a Virgo, so I'm your opposite. Um, but I always think like there's a lot I can learn from Pisces. And this is why I do opposites. So, anyways, what's blocking me or my growth in any or all areas? Number two, what do your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? Number three, how will my love life be? Whether I'm single, will I be meeting someone? Or if I'm in a relationship, will it stay strong? This is why you want to use your intuition, because you should be able to feel that the message is for you. This is a soul to soul connection. Number four, what lessons from my past are helping me right now? And that's really what our past is about, our history. learning our own history. Number 5, if single or looking, what type of person is coming my way? So if there's someone in the works, usually that means divinely guided or predestined. Then I want to know about them as much as we can. Um, and then last but not least, what energy is called for in September? And this is where I want your guides to give us, well, I wrote down the biggest messages because it's the last question. I am going to use a couple decks after the initial spread. So what I'm going to do to ask the questions, I'm going to use the Universal Tarot, and then I'm going to use the Crystal Vision to take a card above, and I'm going to use the Gilded Tarot to take a card below. And that's how we're going to answer our questions. But first, let's go ahead and officially open this reading. I say officially because many times when I'm pre-shuffling the decks, which I always do, I'm just meditating on your sign. By the way, happy birthday, Justin. Is the 27th. Wait a minute. Or the 26th. That's weird. I forgot all of a sudden. That is Sam's son. Sam's son. Oh, optimism from Mother Mary. I say this all the time to you guys. I expect good things to happen, and they do. I expect good things to happen, and they do. So Mother Mary is asking, or let's say, is giving us advice on the best energy to go into September with optimism. I expect good things to happen, and they do. And some of you may say, well, they don't, but maybe they do, but in divine timing, right? Because you also have to be ready or willing, let's say love, like I tell the universe, I want a really good love, someone who will be with me forever, someone who's honest, um, loyal, all that. Well, then you have to also be that, which I know many of you already are. But that is the law of attraction, right? Like attracting like. So when you're in that optimistic energy, no matter what's going on around you, by the way, this is where we learn to kind of like center ourselves. But I would use this as your motto. I expect good things to happen, and they do. Pure and simple. All right. Let's bring in the major arcanas, and I'm really using these as like bullet points that will give us a clue what the reading is going to be about, or any type of energy um, that's being called for. And we're only going to take a few. Okay. Okay. Well, we have the Death card. First of all, that is the card of Scorpio. It's about transformation. It is about something potentially, I feel like, wants to come to an end, or maybe has reached its end. And the Death card's really about a rebirth. It's, whatever follows it, I often feel is the energy it wants us to take on, or it's showing you what's coming in next. So, some type of transformation. For some of you, it can literally be a closing of a door. I want to remind you, and I know many are sick of hearing this, but it is the truth. We're in the universal year 9, the year of the hermit, and that is all about reflection. And for many, it's about really finding your spirituality, becoming, you're already a spiritual being. having human experiences. Interesting. Why am I getting all this with this card? So, anyways, death, but rebirth. And, don't fear the death card. It just means that something has come to completion. And it's literally our free will of whether we're going to allow it to come to completion or we're going to try to pull more out of it. But it feels like something may be over. Well, hello, Fool. So this is about a new beginning. I love the Fool following the death card. First of all, the Fool, that little knapsack that he's carrying is the wisdom of his experiences, of her experiences. Everything you've learned. And then it's about taking a leap of faith, but on yourself, in your life. I feel like because it's asking you to take a leap of faith, there must be something happening. And then we have the devil. Okay. First of all, card of Capricorn, but it's mirroring the death card. And I feel like simply what it's saying is be careful when it comes to these endings, because I definitely feel now with the Fool next to the death card, something is meant, like it's done. It's completed. I can try to extract more, but I don't feel like it is of value. The death card talks about illusions, temptations. So there could be an energy that's trying to pull you back, but I feel like you just need to be strong enough. Or, again, maybe some of you have dealt with something difficult and you're now finally emerging as the Fool. So expect good things. But this is real life too, because I do feel often like when we know something has come to completion, let's say it's talking about a relationship, but then the illusion of there's more. But I feel like the Fool is saying, no, no, no. And the Fool is a dreamy character. You know, um, like I always say this, dreams about their future and really thinks that all is possible and all really is possible, especially when you add the Fool to Mother Mary's message of optimism. I expect good things to happen, and they do. So I feel like just be careful that you don't get pulled back into anything that, again, feels like it's a natural completion. Okay, so we'll remember that. Um, I guess we can leave them out. I know they're not going to stay though. All right, so let's move into the questions, the really exciting part. So, I'm saying September, but I also want you to remember again, time is fluid. So just trust in your divine timing. Your divine timing might be a little bit different than someone else's divine timing. But if you're in this reading, it means to me, like, I feel like if you're in this reading, your intuition probably pulled you here or nudged you. Um, just trust that. Okay. Number one, what is blocking me or my growth in any or all areas? Justice. Justice. Card Libra. This is about fairness. There could be something that has you in an unbalanced state. And that may be, again, the death card and and the devil with the fool in between. When justice shows up in a reading, it is about making you whole again. But you may have to use that sword of justice. That sword, like I think all the major arcanas, the gifts that they bring, and one of them is that sword. And that sword is used to cut ties, hooks, whatever you need to. But what it does is it immediately balances you. And that's the ticket, right? It's about you being balanced. And, if there's any sign other than Libra that cares about what's fair and just, you're one of them. All right, let's take a crystal vision above. We have the Knight of Wands. And let's go below. We have the Nine of Wands. Okay, so I just get this feeling that some of you have been dealing with someone who, they may bring a lot of passion. They may seem very passionate, but I get this feeling that the energy that they bring to you, I'm not going to say it's not real, but there feels like there's something within that energy. Almost like I come in and I promise you the world, and then I split, and then I'm gone. And then I come back in and I promise you the world, and then I'm gone. But the Nine of Wands below that is you reflecting on that. Nine of Wands, I call this person my spirit warrior because they're bold enough to look back. Our history is our lessons. This is where we have learned. And if we haven't learned, we still have that opportunity. And thinking that we're in, again, the year of the Hermit, which is also a 9. This is the last year of a 9-year cycle. And then a brand new cycle is opening up. And the Fool being here, I feel like for some of you, you are ready. Especially if you've done this reflection. So the reason why I call this person my spirit warrior is because every wand behind them is something they've overcome, something they've accomplished. It's truly what's made them who they are today. And in the Nine of Wands, you should be very proud of that. Sometimes like if I use myself for example, some of these wands felt like I could never get over, but then I did, so to speak. But this is really about you recognizing your growth. And, it's interesting because there could be someone who, you could be, let's say, in a relationship or even your friends and family where many of you seem to be evolving. And I know that's the case. Like you're just evolving. You're evolving into it's almost like you are now bringing your spiritual being into this human experience. So this is a great energy to see. So whatever ties need to be cut, I feel like you have more clarity over it than ever. If this has anything to do with love, it's like love me or don't love me. But I don't feel like I just feel like I learned my lesson. And I also want to say, as you evolve, it doesn't mean the people around you will. Hopefully you're able to plant those seeds, but doesn't mean that seed is going to nurture within them. So it's just natural that it's kind of like, think of it as like you're raising dimensions. You're going to a new dimension. But those who have not, are not interested in evolving, let's say, well, they stay at that same vibration. So here you are, here they are. Now, I'm not saying that you're better than, it's just a fact that you have evolved, they have not. So those that have not, the universe naturally wants them to fade away. And just like the devil card, where we want to pull them back in. But I feel like many of you are saying, no more, no more. And you have every right to say that. And that's coming from your guides. All right, so speaking of your guides, what does your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? We have the Six of Pentacles. That's the fine art of give and take. It's interesting sitting next to Justice because literally this can mean that you have been the giver and someone else has been taking, and it hasn't been equal. This is a very compassionate and empathetic energy, which is you. And you naturally want to help the underdog. You naturally want to help lift people up. But sometimes, some people don't want that. And again, all we can do is plant that seed. It'll either grow within them or it won't. But I get a feeling that your spiritual team is saying that this compassion and empathy you carry, it's not about shutting that down. It's about learning who I'm giving to, why I'm giving to them, and am I benefiting their life? Or are they taking advantage of your generosity? Interesting. I feel like first and foremost, you want to recognize the empathy and compassion you carry and be very proud of that. And yeah, sometimes that can mean that someone can take advantage of us. But the Nine of Wands, it is like you are reclaiming yourself, your life, and all that you wanted to be. So it makes complete sense to see Justice and the Six of Pentacles together. All right, well, let's go right above it. Hello, Ten of Cups. Interesting. Ten of Cups. And the Five of Swords. Okay, so the first thing I'm picking up is this Ten of Cups. This is reachable. This is a reachable energy, let's say. Ten of Cups is the house of harmony, love, laughter, joy. It doesn't mean there's zero issues, but this is the type of house where we work it out together. And to me, it feels like your guide just saying, this is what you deserve. But instead of that, I feel some of you have been kind of stuck in the Five of Swords. There's that toxicity. There's those words of, putting you down, making you feel that you're less than, which is the opposite. I often feel the words spoken in the Five of Swords are very cutting, very hurtful. Like you can't take them back. And boy, do I feel like this is also connected to justice. It is a five, so it is asking for change. It's almost like it's saying, there's no way you can have the Ten of Cups and the Five of Swords in the same energy. It's one or the other. And I feel like you've given and given and given, but have you been receiving? Do you know that it is your right? You are the author of your story. So this 10 of cups, like, let's write it in your story, but then let's eliminate this toxicity. And it's sitting next to the Nine of Wands. I feel a lot of you already know what it is. But again, it is a five, and five speaks of change. Boy, I feel like your guides are really speaking about just energy that you've been dealing with. And this nine down here, it feels like this is the year of Pisces reclaiming themselves. This isn't about shutting down those beautiful parts of yourself, even if other people have told you that. That's not coming from your guides. That's not coming from, let's put it a different way. I feel like it comes from a lack mentality, sometimes jealousy. Like, I wish I could be more like Pisces, but I'm not. Hmm. Okay, let's keep going. So, how will my love life be, whether I'm single, meeting someone new, or even if you're in a current relationship? But justice is kind of, like, I feel like using that sort of justice is really the tipping point to everything that's going to be new. It just literally feels like some people are not meant to be on this next 9 year cycle with you. All right, so, anyways, how will my love life be? Two of swords. Don't freak out. Page of Pentacles. And then the Strength card. Interesting. Card of Leo. It is the number 8, so it talks about new beginnings. It's mirroring the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles to me is really speaks about um learning as you go along. It's about knowledge. It's about gaining wisdom. It's a different way of looking at life, really. Instead of being like, woe is me, which, listen, we're all going to say that here and there, but I feel like I can look at this and say, instead of woe is me, I'm going to make some real changes. I'm going to use that sword. And yeah, the two swords means there's still a little fear as it relates to love, but it's not the Eight of Swords, right? You're not blocking it. Well, it could be a potential block. The person in the two swords is wearing a mask. And to me, that means it's something I may not want to face. But I feel like we have to go back to the Nine of Wands then and face whatever we need to face. Some of you, it may be using that sword. But I feel like your guides are already showing you, listen, I don't want anybody to use the sword of justice unless that's what they want. I'm not telling you to do that. Like, it just feels, again, whatever toxicity is in my life, I do feel like I have to make some decisions, you know, especially if I'm taking that this is the last year of this cycle. And who do I want to bring along for my next 9 years? I don't think you want the Five of Swords to follow you. And that's probably why the Strength card is here. Strength card is the ability to overcome. It is looking within, as is the Nine of Wands. So to me, it feels like you're really getting to like know yourself again and all the wisdom, really, all the wisdom that you can extract that really can be like your safety in a way. Because if your eyes are wide open, if your intuition is in tuned, then you don't have to worry as it relates to love. Because very quickly, especially when you learn to read energy, which I feel like is all, as you evolve, I feel like reading energy becomes easier and easier. And that's what you want to trust. So I don't feel like this is saying there won't be love. I feel like it's saying I have to learn where I've been so I understand where I want to go. Sometimes these past experiences, especially as it relates to love, is simply learning what we don't want in love. Like, I can't see you with someone who is unbalanced because I feel like they would make you unbalanced, and that's not fair. All right, so what lessons from the past are helping you right now? Hierophant, beautiful. Got your morals, your beliefs, and I feel like this is what you've been reflecting upon. I feel like as it relates to love, it's important. Well, I feel that you feel it's important that whoever comes in, that your morals match. Another way of saying that is, let's say you're someone who's very loyal, no matter what. Well, then that's what you want back. And what I love about this Hierophant is you see two keys. And I feel like those are the keys to your kingdom. But there are two keys, not just one. Right now, it's mirroring justice. Justice seems to be the name of the game here. But I feel like it's about how we can get to that Ten of Cups, Five of Swords, and the Five of the Hierophant. Again, like shadow and light. Shadow, light. Which am I going to follow? And for those who are thinking, all of a sudden, I feel like there's someone out there thinking, like, well, I need to shut down that compassionate part of myself. And I feel like, no, that's up to you. But I don't feel like that's the answer because I feel like that's what's being appreciated about you from your guides, and those who don't recognize it on this earthly plane. Well, how about letting them go instead of changing who you are? Unless you really feel you need change. I feel like the Hierophant is talking about you living life according to your terms. And anyone who follows must also be of that energy. And I'm not talking about perfection. Nobody is perfect. But let's face it, I get this sense that I have dealt with someone, again, when I say I mean you, who has taken advantage of my generosity, of my caring heart, and just kind of used it against me. Now that I know that, now that I know that, I'm going to make some changes. Done the reflection. I've even looked within myself. How can I improve? What do I need to understand? The strength card ties me back again to the devil because temptations. Well, in the strength card, that can talk about, maybe temptation towards someone. So, Hierophant as your past lessons. I think that's beautiful. To me, it means more of you are in the light than in the dark. But let's go above it. I just realized I didn't take anything above it. Look at that. Seven of Swords. So again, these are your past experiences, where there's our untrustworthy energy. Ah, the Knight of Pentacles. Beautiful. Knight of Pentacles is your spiritual team. I feel like it's a guardian angel. This Knight is a great omen because this Knight tells you, I bring in this pentacle. And this pentacle is truly meant to enhance your life. Sometimes it feels like our saving grace. It comes at just the right time. And that's the thing about this Knight. It is about patience. But sometimes the universe is having patience with us. But you know when it comes that it is the right time. So these past experiences where, the Five of Swords kind of already told us that, but now the Seven of Swords takes it one step deeper. So, someone I couldn't trust anyway. Someone who had no problem telling lies. I often feel this person tells lies because it's easier to tell you what you want to hear than face the, you know, if I tell you the truth, to face what you're going to say. So I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear. But you can pick up on that. As Pisces, you're a very psychic sign. And that also needs development, just like your intuition. This is your past, and that's good. So there's no way the person in the Seven of Swords could be matching your morals unless your morals are very low. Now, I feel like, I just might have got stuck around the wrong person or the wrong people, got pulled down into their way of living, and maybe it was your way of living also, but something changed within you. And I know it's your spirituality, but I feel like it's about you seeking it. And I feel like as you seek it, it will find you. And, finding you, well, it's finding you through the Knight of Pentacles. This is really a blessing. And by the way, this pentacle, it means that something's coming into your physical world and it can truly blossom. It can become really whatever you want it to become. Any seed needs nurturing, so sun, water, but I don't feel like you would have a problem with that. I get why the Two of Swords is here with the Seven of Swords. I get not wanting to repeat that energy. But I also feel the majority of you have learned, if nothing else, learned what I don't want in love. Seven of Swords can't be in that Ten of Cups. Just can't be. It doesn't fit. Unless it's a lie. And I did feel that earlier where someone may be, again, promising the world, delivering none. And I feel like we've all been through that, but you get to a point where I feel like you're at that point where enough is enough. And this is, to me, feels like the perfect time because I would hate to see you pull this energy into your new 9 year cycle. Anyway, beautiful. This is like your saving grace. And I often feel the night comes in at, it does come at the perfect time, but sometimes I feel like, oh my God, it's just like, thank you, thank you. All right. If single or looking, what type of person is coming my way? Three of Swords. Okay, well, I don't think that's coming your way, so let's see. See what comes above that. The Eight of Wands. When I think about, I bring about. Don't be thinking about bringing about that Three of Swords. Remember Mother Mary, I expect good things to happen. And then, well, look at this, the Six of Pentacles again. Okay, I get what this is saying. So the Eight of Wands is fast moving energy. We're talking about love here. And yeah, unfortunately, the Three of Swords comes out, but I don't feel the Three of Swords has already happened. What I feel like what this is saying, because the Eight of Wands is mirroring the Six of Pentacles, back here where I feel like you were unappreciated, where your empathy was taken advantage of. And listen, maybe you don't even know that, but maybe you feel it. Maybe someone was trying to hide it. But now, you know, I feel like now they can't because the light is right below them. And now I feel like with this Six of Pentacles, this is talking about someone who is like minded. Eight of Wands, again, fast moving energy. And it's interesting because as I'm touching the card, I'm feeling something could happen. You may meet someone. Interesting. It's like I'm in a traffic jam or like I'm being held up for some reason, not like literally, but like I'm at the store and the lines are extra long. Boy, do I feel like there might be someone in that line. What I think about, I bring about. I feel like that's why justice really opened up our reading, because now we have the Three of Swords mirroring justice. And I know you don't want that. I know you don't want that. And I know that the Knight of Pentacles would not bring that in because that would not be the right time. So I feel like it's simply saying, number one, just be careful of what you think, like if you think love is always going to hurt, well, you may be calling in lower vibrational energy through that. But if you believe that, number one, that you're worthy of great love and you're able to give it, then I feel like you're going to have it. And I feel like the Knight of Pentacles is part of that. But I also really feel like minded and the appreciation of who you are. Here I was taken advantage of. Here, someone seeing that part of me and just loving that part of me. And I don't say this very often because I don't know. I just don't say it very often. But I get this sense that there's a potential soulmate. And I'm saying that because I feel like the Three of Swords, some of that energy may still exist. You know, those broken little pieces, which I feel like we all have. Um, but then a soulmate can come in and really help ease that, give you validation for sure. Okay. Last but not least, well, it's not last because we have other cards, but what energy is called for you in September from your guides? Hello, Ten of Cups. Hello, Ten of Cups. I thought I was going to get it here, but I didn't. I tried. I even gave it time. I feel like that's what the blindfold is, like not wanting to face the facts that something has run its course. But boy, do I feel like, and I hope this doesn't hurt anyone, but I feel like thank God. Thank God it's ran its course. And I don't feel like you come out with a closed heart, though I could see a little fear, and that would make sense. That's life. But these, like, I literally wrote what energy is called for in September. And I wrote down your guide's biggest messages to you, or biggest message to you. So your guides want you to believe that the Ten of Cups is obtainable. Let's go above it. Two of Swords. The High Priestess. Interesting. I know immediately what this is saying. This is an energy where your intuition is going to guide you. Don't let fear stop you. Because I feel like we have two twos here that are above and below the Ten of Cups. And I feel like it's a choice. If I pay attention to my intuition, and I feel like everything along the way has been helping you to clear your intuition and to really enhance it. And even the Knight of Pentacles, especially coming under the Hierophant. I mean, you want to talk about beautiful light. There's your beautiful light. And then even your guides validating you, recognizing what you've been through, but at the same time, validating you and really what you deserve in life. But I have to know that, right? I have to take these blindfolds off. And part of this lesson feels like it is about trusting your intuition. There was probably a red flag back here, which we all get and oftentimes ignore. I feel like the first half of our life, we ignore them. But then we start to realize, oh, wait a minute. Like, I could feel that it was wrong, but I did it anyway. And that's not about judging yourself. It's just understanding. I feel like your guide's biggest message is to trust your intuition. And put that along with Mother Mary's message. I expect good things to happen, and they do. And add that to the Eight of Wands. What I think about, I bring about. Well, I know I don't want to bring the Seven of Wands, or the Seven of Swords. I don't want to bring the Three of Swords. I don't want to bring the Five of Swords. And again, the energy of what I thought was going to be the Ten of Cups, but wasn't. Over here, because this is coming from your guides, this Ten of Cups is real. I should have slid these over a little. Give us a little bit more room. I love this format because it gets right to the point and it really cuts out all the fluff. Okay, now I want to turn around each deck, but I wanted to make sure you could see that. So let's start with the Crystal Vision, Death card again. So I think it's very clear, unless it's a Scorpio for you. I definitely feel like it is time. It is time for something to come to completion. I think it's very clear what it is. And let's say you don't have a lot of toxicity around you. Well, I still feel like it's a lesson you learned. And really, this whole reading is about your growth and who you are and what you deserve. This is your life. Remember that. This is your life. It was given to you. You are the author and the writer and the actors. Hello, Ace of Wands. So, passion ignited with the Ace of Wands. Action oriented, which is exactly what I feel you need, right? Like, don't tell me you feel some way, show me. But this definitely is talking about passion is going to be ignited, and then it's action. It's go time. Hello, mirroring the Ten of Cups. Beautiful. Temperance on the bottom. Divine timing. Temperance and the Knight of Pentacles have the same message as it relates to patience. And I often feel temperance is mixing the loving waters of the two soulmates, making sure that both cups are equally filled. This doesn't depict that at all, but that's really what I feel. But this is about trusting in divine timing. But I feel like divine wants to make sure also that what you usher in, because you have a big part in this. Mother Mary, I expect good things to happen, and they do. The Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about. Divine timing. This means divine is involved in your life. Also, can I tell you, when you see temperance, it really is asking you to let go of the things that you just cannot control and put them in divine's hands. Sometimes there's people we just can't control. Well, maybe we're not meant to. Not everyone's going to accept our seed, so to speak. But how beautiful. I just want to look under that ace. We have the moon. Interesting, your major arcana. So, just looking. I'm looking at what's in the middle of the spread. So you have the Page of Pentacles that's looking over at this Seven of Swords. And the Page of Pentacles is all about a learning experience. She's in a very peaceful state, though. So she's learning about the Seven of Swords, but she's not taking it on. Even though it's happened to whoever's in this page, I'm still no longer taking it on. I've evolved past that. And I feel like that's exactly why the Hierophant is here. You're just literally realizing that there are morals that just aren't matching. And no matter what you do, you can't make someone evolve. They have to want that. But I just don't feel that someone wants that. There are a lot of people that are more than happy to live just in their earthly beings, and that is their free will. But then our free will has an opportunity to make some real decisions and then real changes. Your guides want you to know that this Ten of Cups is very attainable, but it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the past. I feel like I want to just take a card. Well, I want to do it the other way. I don't want to see them. And I just want to go over that Ten of Cups. Chariot. Unlimited potential. How does it become unlimited potential? Balance. What does justice ask for? Balance. How do I get that balance? I gotta cut those ties. What ties? Any ties that are just holding me back. Yes, it is the Ten of Cups and it does represent love, but it also represents loving of your life. The Chariot needs the balance of the feminine and the masculine within ourselves, the light and the shadow. We all carry that. So, how beautiful that this is really like, okay, so let me just put it this way. I feel like when you enter this Ten of Cups, it's for the rest of your life. And then the Queen of Cups. Well, that is you, male or female. And her cup is in front of her. Almost like, please fill my cup. This is definitely someone who loves being in love. But those who love being in love, there are lessons. You know what I mean? But they only bring us, like, as we learn these lessons, it only brings us to our ultimate state, whatever that may be. This queen feels ready, though. The little doggies at her side, it's like her spirit guides, her intuition. They're white, pure. They're really adorable. I'd like to have them. So, anyway, I just wanted to double check that. I don't know why. Um, but I did. Okay. Let's bring out the clarifying love situations. I'm going to put these away. I feel like this Knight of Pentacles because I don't feel like it's a one-time thing. I feel like you can use the seeds that this knight is bringing in, and again, at the right time. And you can use them to grow a life that really maybe had only been in your dreams, but now is becoming your reality. And I'm telling you, the way to get there is through that Nine of Wands. Because when you reflect back, when you reflect on yourself and your own growth, then you start to understand that how could I possibly have the Ten of Cups with the Seven of Swords? I can't. But this is what I really want. Well, then this is what I really have to do. And that's what ushers the Knight of Pentacles in. I'm telling you, the night doesn't come in before it's time. And it's waiting for something. Well, I know what it's waiting for. You know, the Seven of Swords doesn't have to be a lover. It can be anyone. This could be family. I definitely feel the Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords are tied together. I feel like it's talking about the type of communication. And I feel it's very hurtful communication. Like I'm mad at them for treating you that way. Whoever they may be. Even if it's a family member. Could be friends. You know, you are who you hang out with. And if I don't want to be like the Seven of Swords or someone who's always yelling and screaming, then I have the opportunity to change that. And it does come from some bold action, but I definitely feel like that Ace of Wands is going to help. You know, if nothing else, it's representing passion that's going to be ignited within your soul, first and foremost. And then I feel like whatever events happen. First, the passion. Why? So that you will take action steps. Okay. Um, you know, there's two messages on these cards, and both of them came out sideways. So I'm going to read them both. Beloved wisdom. Love is a choice you make every day, so choose wisely. And then awakened rebirth. Become conscious, stay aware, and embrace the renewal of your essence. Wow, that's beautiful. Become conscious. It's exactly what you're doing in the Nine of Wands. Stay aware and embrace the renewal of your rebirth. Now we have delicate balance. Strike a balance between freedom and commitment. And then on the other side, navigate boundaries with grace, mastering the art of give and take in harmony. Wow, harmony. Here it is, the give and take. But now it's in a completely different set of circumstances. You know, I'm feeling all of a sudden, and I know this is not going to be for everyone, but I feel like it's the recognition of oneself first and your worth. And I'm not talking like through an egotistical mind, but understanding that you're a spiritual being having human experiences. Then you start to realize, like, what am I doing staying stuck in energy that just keeps hurting me? Is it just that I'm afraid of change? And if I am, how about if I just put my toes in the water? Give it a chance. All right. What I do? Oh, to say, where'd the whole deck go? Last but not least, I can't believe I set my coffee here all along. Ugh, now it's cold. All right. Last but not least, let's bring out the romance of angels. Can I say that the person in the Three of Swords is looking up, almost like watching those swords coming towards them? And to me, it feels like I expect it. Like I just expect another sword. And I feel like that's where you want to be careful. Because the Eight of Wands above it, I do feel is more like the law of attraction. What I think about, I bring about. Well, I feel like you've brought enough swords about. Now it's about you. You know, you can be loving and compassionate and empathetic, but still put you first. You know, it's like someone who has to take care of a bunch of people but doesn't take care of themselves. How can they do that? All right. Finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. Well, I could see that, but I don't know why. I mean, I could see some, like, part of why I stay could be finances. Yet, on the other side of that, like, I feel like if you think you need their finances, I have a feeling you just haven't seen the other side of the coin yet. Because I really feel like you are becoming very independent. Pisces, you're calling in your soulmate. Calling in your soulmate. You got to be ready for this soulmate then. Because the messages you're receiving, I expect the things to happen, and they do. And if I'm calling in a soulmate, you know, then even more reason to use the sword of justice. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. And let's do one more or two. Honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Well, I mean, we're getting ready to enter into holiday time. So some of you, I feel like this could be a clue. Like that it's coming sooner versus later. And it's interesting because I noticed the person on this gondola, like, it could be someone who does not live around you, but you still connect. And who knows? Some of you may be taking a trip to go visit someone, or vice versa. Oh my. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Now, I don't want it to be the person in the Seven of Swords. And I don't feel like it is because you're calling in your soulmate. And just look at these two. They're above the clouds. Like, this feels like past life love. Like you're calling in a past. And I don't even know that you're calling in, but it does feel like not only you're calling in a soulmate, but a soulmate that you have lived life together before. Some of you, it can be in this lifetime. This could be something that happens unexpectedly. You know, I often feel like when I see justice and if it represents becoming single, I often I see it in my mind's eye where I literally see a lot of you changing like your social media status from married or in a relationship and putting single on your front page. So this is why I feel that old loves can reach out, old friends that turn into lovers. But I also feel, listen, we know it's a soulmate. And I know it's going to happen in different ways for different people. And I feel like this reading is about how do we get to this type of life, right? Where I'm living in the Ten of Cups, where these blessings of the Knight of Pentacles keep showing, where I'm living life according to my morals, right? No more blindfolds. Whatever I need to face, I'm going to face it. Your intuition, I feel like, is the ticket here, right? It's trusting your intuition versus the Two of Swords. Because we know that the Ten of Swords or the Ten of Cups is coming in. We have the Chariot over there. And it's interesting because the person's in a chariot. Well, this person's in a boat. And your intuition will sing either with joy or not. Like like if it's a red flag, you'll know it. If you've done this clearing, then I have no problem. Like I feel like you're just going to trust your intuition. And I feel like, and that's that. Look at these two. And it's following, calling in your soulmate. So we know it's a soulmate. And then again, how could it not be? Because when I wanted the Ten of Cups, I didn't get it. But over here, and listen, it's not you change. I mean, you're changing, yes. You're evolving. But it's not you changing the empathy and compassion you carry. No, that is an important component of you and a beautiful part of you. And nowhere does it feel like your spirit guides are saying, like, stop giving so much. It's not about giving. It's like, who am I giving to? And are they taking advantage? Because I feel like your guide is saying, we want you to be who you are. And we want you to be appreciated for who you are. And that's exactly what's happening here. So, definitely looks like some difficult energy, but energy that we can clear. It does mean that we might have to take some bold moves, but I feel like every bold move is going to pay off. I just do. I know the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Cups can't live in the same house. So the Knight of Pentacles is what's helping with that. And by the way, this Knight of Pentacles, it can be bringing in money to help you buy a car. It could be bringing money to help you start this business. But I also feel like it's igniting your heart chakra, getting you ready for a soulmate that I don't know. Some of you may not even realized, like in your heart of hearts, you've been calling in this soulmate. And I feel like with Temperance and the Knight of Pentacles, it's like we know that, but we had to wait until certain energy was cleared, until you became balanced. That seems to be the ticket. You find balance, and everything else just seems to open up for you. Listen to Mother Mary. Try to be in an optimistic energy. It's not, listen, Mother Mary's not saying every day and every moment be in an optimistic energy. That's almost impossible. But as much as you can. And I feel like this reading is a beautiful example of when we clear the past, the beauty that opens up for us. Why? Well, because you're on a whole new vibration, my dear. Because you are on a new vibration. And you deserve every bit of it. Amen. And so it is. And I'm going to let that be. Interesting reading, Pisces. Um, can't wait to hear your comments. This is definitely, this is real life. Like to do a reading and there be no issues. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But this is showing us how to deal with it, like the things that we can overcome. The strength that we have, the remembrance that we're a spiritual being. And these human experiences, like, it's just going to be a blimp in time. So why not create the best life you can for yourself? This life was given to you. This is your life. You are the author. Goodbye, Seven of Swords. Goodbye, Five of Swords. And hello, Ten of Cups. Amen. And so it is. I love you. I'll see you next time at our table. Let me know what you thought of the format. I'm not going to do it all the time, but I definitely wanted to try it for September, and I'm glad I did. But ultimately, I want to do what makes the majority of you happy. I know I can't make everyone happy, and that's okay, but I love your feedback. I really do. So, even constructive criticism, let's put it that way, constructive criticism. I have some people just say, shut up and read the cards. Like, come on. Did you have to come on my channel and say that? But that's what I call lower vibrational energy. Anyway, that's that. Um, this reading feels difficult because of the issues you've had to deal with. I know I keep ending it and then talking. But I just really want you to see the beauty and the blessings that you can claim. They're yours to claim. Blindfolds off. Living in my truth. I expect good things to happen, and I'll be damned. They do. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.